This is the StoryPower Marketing Show with Tom Ruwitch. Make yourself comfortable and fasten your seatbelt. Tom and his guest are about to share powerful stories, trade business building insights, and have a few laughs. Tom created this podcast to help you captivate prospects and inspire them to act, so you can get more clients quickly and easily. That's what powerful storytelling is all about. That's what this podcast is all about. So let's get this party started. Here's your host, Tom Ruwitch.
Hello and welcome to the StoryPower Marketing Show. I'm Tom Ruwitch, and today's episode is called How to Transform Your Public Speaking from No Can Do to No Sweat. My guest today is Fred Miller. Fred is the author of 3 books: No Sweat Public Speaking, No Sweat Elevator Speech, and No Sweat The Fear of Public Speaking. Each has earned rave reviews on Amazon, including reviews from me. Fred is an internationally recognized public speaking expert, a TEDx talk coach, and a podcaster. Businesses, individuals, and organizations hire him because they want to improve their networking, their public speaking, and their presentation skills. They do it because they know that speaking opportunities are business, career, and leadership opportunities. Fred Miller, welcome to the StoryPower Marketing Show.
Well, thanks for having me, Tom. It's a privilege to be your guest.
Yeah, we go back a long way. I don't even remember how many years it's been. We're both in St. Louis, Missouri. I've known you. I knew you long before you leaned into this public speaking thing. But tell us a little bit about how you came to this game, this realization that speaking opportunities are business, career, leadership opportunities.
Well, I would watch people present, and you realize that we like to work with experts. If you're perceived as an expert, they work with you. Same reason why I write a book. And by the way, just as a sidebar, always write your own introduction and include in it, if you don't have a book, and I appreciate you mentioning mine, the title of his upcoming book is.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Because we perceive writers and speakers as experts. We like to work with experts. They command more money for their products and services. And I used to go see Zig Ziglar and Brian Tracy and speakers like that and just think, man, that's awesome. And you saw the power people have. Also, on the other side, you would see people who were very, very bright, but they couldn't communicate.
Yep.
And it hurt their career.
Yeah.
And it just, one thing led to another. I was in Toastmasters for years and got out of a couple of businesses, and it just seemed like the right time to pursue what's my passion. And you've done some of the same things, Tom.
Yeah. And so for those people who can't communicate, who are struggling with it, who find it to be a scary thing, who are sweating it, what are some of the reasons that they're struggling? What are some of the biggest mistakes that you see with people when they are getting up there in front of a crowd?
Well, first of all, it's natural because most of our conversations are one-on-one like this. Many are on the phone, or a phone, I should say.
Yeah.
We don't see or hear the people. And more people are texting or emailing. You don't see or hear them. And you get up in front of a group like, whoa, that's a little different. That's uncomfortable. But the thing is that we can learn to do this. And the analogy I like to give, it's a story to your expertise. I got a call years ago from an OBGYN. She was moving from New York to St. Louis, going to be affiliated with one of the big hospitals. Terrible fear of public speaking.
Yeah.
I could hear in her voice, and she told me, and she said, this is very, very important to me. I'm going to be teaching a class. I'm going to be presenting to colleagues. Can you help me? I said, I don't know, doctor. Can I ask you a few questions? She said, sure. I said, you're an OBGYN. That means you deliver baby boys and baby girls, correct? She goes, yes. I said, well, have you ever delivered a baby public speaker? And she kind of chuckled, said, no, I haven't, Fred. I said, let me ask you another question. You're a doctor. You're an adult. You dealt with death. It's part of life. Do you know anyone who's passed away giving a presentation? And she kind of chuckled again and said, no, I don't. I said, well, doctor, you just proved my point. There's not a public speaking gene that we're either born or not born with.
Yep.
It's a relatively safe activity to engage in. So somewhere between birth and death, it's a skill we can learn.
Yeah.
You weren't born knowing how to drive a car, ride a bike. You went to medical school, doctor.
Yeah.
You've done tougher things.
Yeah.
So the short answer is we can learn these skills, and it's worth doing it. It's a price benefit, and the price of going through and toughing it out and sweating and being a little bit scared, it's worth it because it can change your life, career, business, otherwise.
So how do you turn the sweaty, frightened public speaker into the no sweat public speaker? What are some of your best tips? I don't want to give away the whole book, but I want to prove to the people listening that they need to go out and get those books.
Well, they do. The silver nugget is practice, practice, practice.
Yep.
And the golden nugget is speak, speak, speak.
Yeah.
The learning is in the doing.
Yeah.
Now, if you want to take it to another level, and this is what they tell doctors when they first enter medical school, is see one, do one, teach one. So if you can teach it, as you're teaching storytelling, you become much, much better at it.
Yeah.
But the best way, let me give you my best tip for practicing, like we're doing here, video.
Yeah.
Video yourself, and I got mine set up so you can see my gestures, because that's part of giving a good presentation. Nonverbal communication surpasses verbal, but video yourself giving a presentation, and then play it back. The first time you play it back, turn the sound off. Just watch. Are you doing things that are distracting, that really aren't congruent with what you're talking about? Second time, turn the screen around and just listen. How is your enunciation and pronunciation? How is your pacing? Are you speaking too quickly or too slowly? Are you pausing? All the other verbal communication, listen to that. Third time, watch it, video and audio. You'll see what the audience sees and hears. And the fourth time, watch it with a trusted coach.
Yeah.
And don't just say, give me some feedback. Say, I want to know 2 things I'm really doing well and 3 opportunities for improvement. Because if they just say, hey, Tom, that was dynamite, man, I can't wait to hear you speak again. Well, you love that warm fuzzy, but that doesn't really help you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then speak to as many audiences as possible, different audiences. I remember in Toastmasters, one of our best speakers got too comfortable in front of our club. He lost his mojo. And then when you go out to a speaking gig and it's a different crowd, like, whoa, exactly. I don't know you guys. I mean, oh yeah.
What I love about that advice, Fred, is you started with 2 basic ideas, practice, and do it. Get out there. I probably just misstated the first 2 things that you said, but the cynic and the person who's not taking this presentation seriously might say, well, of course, duh. But then you gave us a really good framework for how to go about doing it. And at the heart of the advice that you just gave us is the understanding that without much training, without any training, we know what a good speaker looks like. So watch yourself with the sound off and you'll know, oh, shouldn't have done that. You'll know my manner was good, my manner was off, without a lick of training. Just practice with the sound off. And then the same thing, turn the screen around, listen. When it's good, when it's not good. If you have
filler words, the, like, and you're a sports guy, Tom, so you can, I relate this to sports. Most professional athletes spend an infinitesimal amount of time actually playing their game. Most of it is working out, practicing.
Yeah.
That's what you do. I mean, in TED Talks, we coach people that they should practice 1 hour of practice for every minute of presentation. And the sports guys know that. Am I correct? I mean, Take a quarterback, take any professional athlete, especially a runner. I mean, they're out there for what, 30 seconds, a minute. That's all, but they're always practicing working out. Why would you think you can get up in front of a crowd where possibly your job depends upon it and just wing it?
Yeah.
He can't do that.
Exactly. And the other thing, to extend the sports metaphor, is that when they are actually on the playing field or on the court, the vast majority of time spent is remaining calm, mindset, keeping focused, setting aside the noise in your head. There's a great book, The Power of Full Engagement, I think it's called. I'll mention it in the show notes, where they talked about the tennis player Ivan Lendl, and how Ivan Lendl, between points, he was a machine, played in the 80s into the 90s, I think. He was a machine, and he had the exact same routine between each point before each serve, bouncing the ball. He would get the ball from the ball boy and return the ball no matter what condition it was in. Give me a second ball. He would wipe his head the same way after each point. He would bounce the ball the same number of times. And it was all part of the machinery of, all right, I'm clearing my head, I'm envisioning, I'm focusing. And I know that mindset and confidence and focus is also a big part of what you preach and what you teach, Fred.
Well, you just made me think of, and this is what stories do. We go into the hard drive of our brain and pull out another story. That made me think about first responders. That's why they are always practicing. Who would run into a building full of flames if you really thought about it? Who rushes into a building with a gunman who's got an AR-15 knowing that he's killing people? I mean, you just have to react and do it. You can't think about it. And that's why all that practicing pays off for first responders. That's why they do what they do. Same analogy, right?
Yeah, exactly. So let's talk for a moment about the elevator speech. So many of us are not working in the office building anymore. A lot of work from home, a lot of remote work. So maybe people have forgotten the notion of an elevator speech. You're in the elevator, you're meeting somebody that you want to tell about your business, make that initial pleased to meet you speech. You only have, from the first floor to the fourth floor. How are you going to make the maximum impact? And so call it an elevator speech, call it your introductory presentation, whatever it may be. It's that short public presentation. And what are the things that people need to know to get the elevator speech just right?
Thanks for asking. Clear, concise, and consistent.
Yeah.
Because your goals are this. You want them to know exactly what you do. So you can do one of two things. I know what you do, Tom. I don't need it right now. But if I ever need in the future, you're the guy. Sounds like you're an expert. Or my radar is now up. And if I ever hear somebody says, I got to tell some stories. I got to really firm up my marketing, and stories are the way to go. You know anybody who does that? That's the guy. You want to be referred and you want to be hired. And you want to make it clear, concise, and consistent. Too many elevator speeches, and I've had them, that are far too long.
Yeah.
And you want people to know exactly what you do. Now, here's the test for an elevator speech. I give you my elevator speech. If you can give it to somebody who didn't hear it and they know what I do, that's a winner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you also want to do a little bit different. So my Twitter type, to your point of being clear, concise, and consistent, I'm Fred Miller. I speak, coach, and write about networking, public speaking, and presentation skills.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make it real simple words, simple language. You don't impress people with words they don't know, just like telling stories, right?
Yeah.
You make them feel stupid. And if I feel stupid, I'm not going to work with you. Yeah. I'm not going to refer you.
Yeah.
But you could do a little bit different. So you might ask me, we're in line, and you say, I'm Tom, I do storytelling, help people with that. What do you do? And instead of just giving you the Twitter type I just gave you, I could say, well, thanks for asking, Tom. I'm going to answer your question by asking you one. Yeah. Have you ever been to an event and you're watching and listening to the speaker and you're thinking to yourself, well, that guy's good. I mean, he is really good. He's consistent. He's authoritative. He has a passion for what he's doing. Man, I wish I could do that. I'm the guy they hire to develop, practice, and deliver presentations like that.
Yeah.
You probably don't know anyone who needs to improve their public speaking and presentation skills.
Right.
Yeah. That's a little bit of a pattern interrupt, not what they were expecting.
Yeah. I love
You don't
that.
know anybody has any good stories, do you?
I love it.
Or you, to your case, you don't have a story, do you? Everyone's got a story, don't they, Tom?
Exactly. Yeah, and you can turn it the other way around also. It could be, have you ever been sitting in the audience where the guy's on stage, the speaker's on stage, and just sweating and fumbling, and the audience is fidgeting, and it's just a total mess? Well, I'm the guy who prevents that from happening.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a little bit different than what they're expecting, because they're
Exactly.
really expecting your name, company, blah, 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 blah. And again, you got to keep it short. So the rule of three, 3 is magical. 1 for emphasis. Zoom is dynamite. 2 for comparison. Up, down, fast, slow. 3 for completeness. I'll give some examples. 4 or more for a list, shopping list, or to-do list. So I speak, coach, and write about networking, public speaking, and presentation skills.
Yeah.
You want the audience to get it, you need to educate, entertain, and explain. Because too many people, you've heard them, what do you do? And they go on and on. You think, gosh, I guess I'll rotate my tires, change them oil, wash my windows. I don't think I want to hire them.
Yeah, exactly. So you mentioned a moment ago Zoom, and I know because we've spent time together online and chatted on Zoom. You have really embraced it. You've really figured out how to show up online effectively. You look great right now. You're well lit. I know you have a lot of magic that you could do with your backgrounds if you wanted to do it. Talk to us a little bit about the differences between showing up on Zoom versus, well, the differences and similarities really between showing up on Zoom and showing up on a stage in front of 100 people or 1,000 people.
Well, Zoom might be tougher because you're out there, you don't know what these people are doing. A lot of times you get all these cameras and you tell them to blank them because you don't want everyone looking at everyone else, but they may be playing games, they may be eating. But a couple of things are important. My background, not distracting. Too many people have too many things in their background. Inappropriate doesn't even begin to explain what some of those things are. Yeah. And we can't multitask because I'm looking at you got another screen back there and what's in that cabinet. And I think I see some books as mine. No, that's distracting.
Yeah.
Big thing. We cannot multitask. And the best example I like to give, if you're watching any cable news show and that ticker tape, you've seen it, Tom, comes across the bottom of the screen. If you're reading that ticker tape, you have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
And to prove that, when the commercial comes on, the ticker tape is gone. Advertisers would never waste their money like that. So you walk away with distractions. Plain black shirt. No distractions, no bling. I don't have any necklaces or jewelry or anything. You want people concentrating on you. You mentioned lighting. Yeah, I've got lighting here, overhead, because nonverbal communication surpasses verbal. People believe what they see.
Yeah.
They've got to be, if they're not in sync, they believe what they see. And the example there I like to give, the story, to your point, when Obama, one of the best presenters there is, debated Romney the first time in a presidential debate, he lost because his body language showed that he didn't even want to be there. He seemed aloof, disengaged, and he lost because of his body language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to be careful. But Zoom with the right software, it can make a big difference, I think.
Yeah. Do you have your buttons handy?
Pardon?
Do you have any of those buttons handy for?
Do I have any of those buttons handy? But let's see. What can we do?
Show us
here?
the cluttered room. I love that.
Okay. You remember? Okay. Yeah. So let me see what I've got here. I got one like that. See, that's really distracting. And here I am up in heaven. I'm sorry, Tom. I don't see your name here. Well, you're a young guy. Whoa, wait a minute there. Got a couple of markers for you here. Let's see, I clutter. This is a mess. Oh, here we are. You remember my garage?
Yeah.
That's so embarrassing. But people will go on a Zoom call with a background like this.
Yeah.
Like, really? Really?
Yeah.
But sometimes now you can make it. If I was going to talk about elevator speeches, this would be kind of appropriate, right?
Right. Right.
But most elevator speeches, you kind of look,
Yeah. So yeah, there it is. So a couple of notes about that in all seriousness. So number one, you're able to pull off what you just did because we talked about it before. You have great lighting, you have a great setup, you have a good green screen behind you, and you could pull it off. I was in a meeting earlier today with a woman who had the green screen thing going. She had a background behind her, but I don't think she couldn't possibly have actually had a green screen because, we've all been there, right? They move their arms and their arm disappears.
Oh, yeah. No, I wear a yellow shirt and you disappear.
Exactly. And so you really have to be conscious of the technology and the tools that you're using. And the other thing I wanted to take from what you just did is humor. Every time I see you speak, you make me smile, you make me laugh, you're delivering serious and important lessons, but you're doing it. This goes straight to the stuff that I talk about also. You're doing it in an entertaining way. Information alone is not enough.
That's right. Educate, entertain, and explain. We like to be entertained. If I'm entertaining you, I have your attention. If I have your attention, that increases the odds you get it. Yeah. And getting it is the goal of all communication, verbal, written, or visual. Because if you don't get it, even if you don't agree, that's fine, but you got to get it. Otherwise, we can't have a conversation going forward.
Yep.
No, you deal with that all the time. And I appreciate your kind word, but this is not my first setup. I've had many, we've been doing it. As you know, we had to cut an interview short because I had some bad connection with my microphone. I'm actually using my iPhone as my camera, and there's an app for that, which makes a big difference. And then some other software, but some of that stuff is worth the investment.
Yeah, exactly. I can't tell you how often I get onto a Zoom call with somebody and somebody says, "Wow, what kind of camera are you using?
You got nice cameras, I know."
Yeah, what's going on? And it matters. It extends your credibility. People know that you're a serious person. It really matters. And I don't want to suggest that if your background stinks and if you're breaking some of these rules that Fred's describing, that you're, all of a sudden your credibility is down the toilet. The person I was talking to earlier was a really credible professional, but she was undermining that credibility by looking kind of like a clown with her disappearing arms and the whole bit. So
it's little bitty things that make a big difference in telling stories and in presenting. It's a little thing. Always write your own introduction. I didn't write mine for you because you're a master of that. That's what you do. But too many times they're going to grab your bio, and quite frankly, nobody cares. I went to U City, I went to Mizzou, and I got 2 kids and 4 grandkids, and now I'm going to talk about public speaking. It's got nothing to do with it.
Right.
Always write your own introduction, because that is a speaking opportunity for the person introducing you.
That's right.
And many times they don't even want to do it, but if you can make them a hero, wow, makes a big difference. Sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So Fred, where can people find all this great no sweat public speaking stuff that we talked about? The books, your
thanks
blog,
for all your I've got a website, nosweatpublicspeaking.com. Got lots of articles on there, lots of podcasts, took that from you. And also you can get books. I've got them on Amazon, and I'm available for coaching and giving presentations. But it can be a game changer. I mean, this is how you build some of your business, Tom. You're speaking a long time. It builds your credibility. This is building your credibility. Yeah,
exactly. Any parting thoughts, Fred? Any parting thoughts?
No, I just
wow, that was a public speaking moment, right?
We go back a long ways. I mean, both our hair was black, and I didn't have a beard at the time. No, but it makes a big, big difference how you present yourself.
Yeah.
And it can change the world. Zoom's changed the world, and do those little things that make a difference. Have a good camera, have a good microphone. You taught me that. I traded in my other one. And do those other little things, and your presentations will be no sweat.
Beautiful, Fred. Always a great pleasure to hang out with you. Please go check out No Sweat, publicspeaking.com. Go to Amazon, buy these books, learn everything you can from Fred. He's loaded with wisdom and experience about this stuff, and it will make you a better public speaker, more business opportunities, more credibility, all that good stuff that comes with showing up with authenticity, with authority on stage. So Fred Miller, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Good to see you again, my friend, and we'll see you again down the road.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the StoryPower Marketing Show with Tom Ruwitch. If you liked what you heard today, visit StoryPowerMarketing.com/resources, where you can sign up for Tom's entertaining, informative, must-read emails. Download free business building resources and discover other opportunities to help you harness the power of storytelling. That's StoryPowerMarketing.com/resources to help you captivate prospects, inspire them to act, and grow your business with greater ease and joy. Also, please remember to subscribe to the StoryPower Marketing Show with Tom Ruwitch and review it on iTunes or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.